Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about community and community helpers. So what is a community? All right, well, a community is a place where people live and work together. So let's build that definition here on the table. I've got all these different sentences here, and let's see here. We want to find the correct order for these. So let's see here. I want you to tell me when I get to the right one, I want you to say stop. So I'm going to move my finger up and down, and I want you to tell me when I get to the right part. So our first part of our definition is a community. So ready? Tell me when to stop. Oh, did you say stop? I thought I heard something. Good. This definitely says a community. Here it says right? A community. So the next part, a community is a place. Let's find is a place. Ready? Tell me when to stop. We're looking for it. It is. Oh, there it is. All right, let's move that up here. A community is a place. Definitely. A community is a place. It could be a city. It could be a village or something like that. It could even be, a place like in the ocean or something. A community is a place. The next part we're looking for is where people. So tell me when we get to that. Ready? Go down. Tell me to stop. There it is. Where? Where people. All right. Let's move these down. A community is a place where people, let's see here, live and work. That's our next part. Tell me when to stop. There it is. Live and work. And then that means the last part is this word here, together. So let's look at what this means. So a community is a place where people live and work together. All right. So a community is a place where people. Now, sometimes we talk about, people. Of course, people live in communities, but even some animals, there could be a community of gorillas or a community of fish. So let's keep going. We're talking about people. So a community is a place where people live and work. Okay, so in a city, like in Tokyo, where we live right now, this is our city where we live and we also work there, So your family lives in Tokyo and also works in Tokyo. So your mom or dad might work in the city. I work in the city. You work as a student in the city. And the last word is really important. That's kind of maybe the most important word in community. So a community is a place where people live and work together. So the important thing in a community is that it's not people who are all by themselves. It's people who, while they are doing their jobs and while they're moving around and shopping, they interact with other people, right? And so if somebody opens up a shop, that helps their community. If somebody opens up a new grocery store, it helps the people who live around that grocery store because they can go and get vegetables or fruits or different kinds of food. If a person opens up a shop that fixes shoes, then that helps the community because it helps them, fix things that are broken, things that they need to be repaired. So let's read this one more time. A community is a place where people live and work together. So there we go. That's a definition of a community. Let's look at some clips of communities around the world. So our first clip is a community in Korea. So here we have a busy street in Korea. You can see a lot of people walking around shopping. We can see people selling food on the street. We can see different kind of shops and lights and lots of people walking around. This community is, very similar to Tokyo. A lot of parts of Tokyo look very similar to that clip where you have a lot of different shops, a lot of bright lights. You can sometimes buy some food on the street in Japan, like maybe crepes or things like that, So that is a community, but it's very similar to our community that we live in here. Let's look at another clip. This is a clip of a community in India. And so it looks very different from that last video of Korea, but there are a lot of things that are the same. There are people selling food and shops. All right, here is another clip of a community. And you can see how in a community, there are oftentimes a lot of different people, right? And they all have to work together. So they have to, they have to take turns. They have to help each other, right? A lot of these people are trying to cross the street. So if the cars never stopped, then the people wouldn't be able to cross the street. And if the people didn't stop, then the cars wouldn't be able to cross the street. So this is a good example of how communities have to have people working together in order for them to function. Now, you can see there's some tools being used here. There's street lights and things like that that are helping try and control the traffic. So yeah, so that's one other type of community. Here's a very, very different community. So this community is, this community is in a place where it's very, very wet, and you can see all these different houses and maybe some shops too, and they're above the water. So that means if you want to go shopping, you have to get in a boat and then go and drive your boat over to the shop. You can't get out and walk around. Here's one more clip. You can see in a community like the last one, where people live over the water, this is what shops might look like. So all of these different boats are they're like sort of like a grocery store, like a floating grocery store. They're delivering fruit and vegetables, and people can come and drive their boats up to it and buy some fruits. I can see maybe some watermelon and some cabbage. So yeah, so those are some examples of communities. Now you have a community that you live in, right? Tokyo is your community, and there's things that are similar to those video clips and things that are very different, right? We can walk around and ride bicycles. We don't have to ride in a boat. But the community needs a lot of the same things. It needs people. It needs different sort of shops and community workers to help that community grow. So let's look at a couple different community workers now, and I have a game for you. I'm going to show you a very, very blurry picture. It means it's kind of hard to see the picture of a community worker, and then I want you to guess what that community worker is, and then I will show you the real picture and see if you were right. All right, so here's our first community worker. All right, let's see what we can see here. I see some green up here at the top and the bottom, so I think this community worker is outside. I can see the person here, and they must be wearing a very, very dark, maybe dark blue or black uniform. I can see some bright lights, like here's a big bright blue light. And maybe this is a car. Do you have any idea what community worker this might be? Well, let's check out the answer. All right, it's a police officer. Yeah, he is a police officer. What kind of community worker is he? He is a police officer. So here's a picture of the police officer. We can see there's his police car. He's got a lot of different types of tools and equipment. He's got a radio here. He's got a belt that has a lot of different tools. He's wearing a watch to help him know what time it is. Police officer is a very important community helper. They help keep us safe. All right, let's check out our next one. Okay. I see a lot of red. Something's spraying over here. I think this is maybe two people, and they must be wearing sort of like brown and yellow clothes. Very bright yellow on those parts and very brown over here. And then it looks like maybe they're wearing helmets. Do you have any idea what this could be? What do you think that could be? Well, here's the real picture. They are firefighters. Were you correct? So yeah, there are two firefighters in this picture, right? And we can look at some of the things that they do some of the equipment that they use while they're keeping their community safe. Here's a big long fire hose that can spray water out. They're wearing fire helmets, right? They're wearing masks so they can breathe clean air. They're wearing fire resistant clothes so that if fire touches their clothing, it won't burn. And this is a cool picture too, because this group of firefighters are Japanese and American. So that's why if you look at their picture on their jacket, they have an American flag and a Japanese flag on that flag, which is pretty cool. So firefighters are very important community helpers. They also help keep us safe. All right, here's our next community helper. Let's see here. I see a lot of green. There's a person over here and a lot of green. It looks like they're outside. Which type of community worker, community helper works outside, maybe in a green field? Do you have your idea? Here is the answer. He is a farmer. He is a farmer. Farmers are very important community helpers because they help grow the food that then gets delivered around our community so that we can eat. So he is a bean farmer. And I believe this picture is from Nicaragua, a different country. Ooh, this one's very tricky. It's very hard to see this, but I'll give you some clues. He's outside. They're wearing a vest, a bright colored vest or jacket. So who is a community helper that works outside and wears maybe a bright orange vest while they're working? Do you have any ideas? Here is the answer. He is a construction worker. Yeah, he is a construction worker. What kind of community helper is he? He is a construction worker. Now, let's look at some of the tools that a construction worker has. While they're doing their work, they need different tools like screwdrivers. Here, he's got a special pouch attached to his belt that can carry a bunch of different tools. He's wearing this bright orange vest so that people can see him easily. He's wearing a helmet here, just in case anything were to fall and nothing will hurt his head. He's wearing sunglasses, maybe because he's working outside. He wants to protect his eyes. Construction workers are important parts of our community because they help build roads and houses and bridges, all the things that we need. All right, here's our last one. Okay, so I see two people, but this is the community helper that we want to figure out. So I see that they're wearing a white coat, I think, and it looks like they're wearing gloves, maybe pink gloves and a pink mask. So there's one person laying down here and then one community helper who's helping check them out or work on them. Who is somebody who wears a white coat and maybe a mask and gloves and helps look down on somebody just while they're working on them? Can you think of anybody? Here's the answer. She is a dentist. She is a dentist. Yeah, a dentist is an important type of community helper, right? They help keep our teeth clean, which helps keep us healthy. So yeah, those are some different types of community helpers. Now that we've looked at that, let's look at some other community helpers and the jobs that they do. So there's a lot of different ways that we can organize community helpers, but I have two ways that we can use right now. So two different words that we can use. So this one over here, this says maker. So that would be somebody who's the most important part of their job is making something for us. And this word says helper. So that's somebody who's the most important part of their job is, helping us do something, helping us get something, helping us, if we need help, things like that. So let's look through some of these different, these little people and see if we can figure out where you think they should go. Are they more of a maker or more of a helper? Right? Both of these are very important. We need makers and helpers inside our community. So, okay, here is a community helper. What is he? He is a construction worker. All right, now, is a construction worker a maker or a helper? Okay, they do help us. They help us by making things, but the most important part of their job is making new things, building things for us with their tools and their equipment. So let's put him over here on that side. All right, now you'll grab somebody new. All right, who is she? She is a firefighter. Good. Now, is a firefighter more of a maker or more of a helper? Okay, do firefighters make fire? No, definitely not. Do firefighters make water? No, they just spray water. Firefighters are definitely helpers, right? They help us when we're in trouble, when we have a fire. They come and help us fix that problem. Here's another person. What is he? He is a vet. He is a vet. Vet is short for veterinarian. So he is a vet. Now, is a vet more of a maker or more of a helper? Does the vet make the animals? No. The vet helps the sick animal. So let's put the vet over here on this side. All right. How about this? This girl is a hairstylist, right? So she makes hair or she helps us with our hair? Should I put it over here? No, I don't think so. I think she should go over here. I think hairstylists help us, right? They help us when our hair gets too long. We can go and then they can make us look nice again, and they can make it so that maybe your hair doesn't go in your face, things like that. They're helping us. How about this guy? What is he? He is a chef. Now, is a chef more of a helper or more of a maker? I hope you said maker. Yeah, chef is definitely more of a maker, right? They make food. They take a bunch of different ingredients and they make something new from all those ingredients. That way they can, serve it so that people have things to eat inside the community. All right. What is she? She is a doctor, right? We can tell she's a doctor. She's got her stethoscope in her pocket, a tongue depressor there, her white coat. This is a light right here so that, she can shine her light down and, if somebody's hurt, she can see the injury really easily. Now, does a doctor make people healthy? Sometimes you hear people say that, but is that usually what we say? No, usually we say that a doctor helps us, right? So a doctor is definitely a helper. All right. What about this last one? What is he? He is a mail carrier. Now, does the mail carrier make the mail? No, they don't make the mail. Maybe you make a letter, to send to your grandma, and then the mail carrier helps us carry that letter over to the new place. So there we go. We sorted some different community helpers into some different groups, makers and helpers. Both of these are really, really important. We need both makers and helpers in a community. Otherwise, we don't have enough. We won't, we can't, our society won't be able to function nicely. We need people to make new things and people to help us when we need help. So there you go. All right. Before we go, I want to look at the definition one more time for a community, so that we can go over those words a few more times. So here we go. The definition of a community. A community is a place where people live and work together. Let's read that one more time. A community is a place where people live and work together. All right, there you go. That is the definition of a community. Now that you've seen some clips of communities and you've learned a little bit about some different community helpers, now you can start thinking about your own community, right? The neighborhood you live in, the city you live in, the country you live in, right? What are some community helpers that help you in your life, right? Like the people who work at the grocery store. What is your job in our community, right? I'm a teacher. My job is to come and teach you new things. What's your job? What about your parents? Now you can go and ask your parents, what is your job in our community? How do you help our community? All right. I hope you guys learned a lot today, and I'm very excited to have taught you this stuff. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.